This company did not become powerful because bananas were magical. It became powerful because bananas rot fast and weak governments bend under strong infrastructure. That is the beginning of the story. United Fruit was not just selling fruit. It was building an empire out of land, railroads, ports, ships, warehouses, labor, and political leverage. The company was founded in 1899. Later, it became United Brands, and then Chiquita. But the famous name that shaped history was United Fruit Company. To understand its power, you have to stop thinking about bananas as food and start thinking about bananas as logistics. A banana plantation alone is not enough. You need transport. You need ports. You need ships. You need cold storage and timing because the fruit is perishable. That means whoever controls the route to market controls far more than the farm. United Fruit learned that very early. It did not simply grow bananas in one place and sell them in another. It tried to own the system in between. That system spread through Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Jamaica, and other territories. In many places, the company gained huge land concessions. It also received tax advantages. It gained railroad rights. Once a company controls the railway and the port, competitors, workers, and even governments begin to depend on it. That dependence is where business turns into power. Weak governments often accepted these deals because they wanted revenue, infrastructure, or personal gain. But once the company became the circulatory system of the export economy, sovereignty shrank. That is the world behind the phrase Banana Republic. O. Henry coined the term in 1901 after experiences tied to Honduras. The phrase was not just a joke. It described a real structure. A narrow elite, foreign capital, single export dependence, weak institutions, and politics bent around outside business interests. Honduras became the classic early example. Banana interests were deeply tied to its national politics. One famous figure was Samuel Zimmerey. In 1911, Zimmerey backed a coup with the help of the mercenary Lee Christmas. That move helped restore Manuel Bonilla to power. This is why the phrase "owned governments" does not feel like empty hype. Fruit interests were not only lobbying from a distance, they were entangled with regime change itself. Guatemala became the most famous United Fruit case. By the mid-20th century, the company was one of the country's largest landowners and employers. It also held major transportation influence. Then President Jacobo Arbenz pushed land reform. That reform threatened large stretches of company land, including underused land. United Fruit helped frame the conflict in Cold War language. That mattered because business pressure could now travel through the machinery of anti-communist fear. In 1954, Arbenz was overthrown in a CIA-backed coup. The coup had larger Cold War causes too, so history should not reduce everything to one company. But United Fruit clearly mattered. It helped turn a land dispute into a geopolitical emergency. Colombia shows a different form of corporate power. There, the company did not need to openly own the whole state to shape events. In the banana zone of Magdalena, United Fruit was powerful through land, jobs, and export access. Then workers pushed back. In 1928, about 25,000 workers struck for better conditions. They wanted higher pay, direct contracts, accident compensation, better hospital service, and an end to company store abuses. The state sent troops. In the Banana Massacre at Ciénaga, soldiers fired on workers and supporters. The death toll is still debated. Some estimates stay under 50. Others rise above 1,000. That uncertainty has become part of the massacre's legacy. But the central truth is clear. Labor protest met state violence inside an economy shaped by export capital. United Fruit's power was also social and environmental. Workers often lived in company-dominated settlements. Debt and dependency could keep them vulnerable. Monoculture made local economies and landscapes more fragile. Land concentration pushed aside other forms of development. The local future became tied to a single crop and a foreign-controlled system. The public image looked much happier. Bananas were marketed as cheerful, modern, healthy consumer goods. That contrast is what makes the story so sharp. A bright breakfast fruit sat on top of railroads, concessions, coups, strikes, and massacres. The later corporate name change did not erase the pattern. In the early 21st century, Chiquita admitted payments to a Colombian paramilitary group that the United States had designated as a terrorist organization. The old plantation empire had changed shape, But the link between bananas and violence had not fully disappeared. So why did one fruit company seem to own governments? Because it did not only grow bananas. It fused land, transport, labor, money, and political influence into one machine. And when that machine becomes stronger than the state around it, business stops acting like a guest. It starts acting like a ruler.